Part 343. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu. Chapter 3421. Speaking of which, this is the oppression that we face directly. Just, very apt, very real. For the rest, it doesn't matter. Nothing. The black and white college is just a second-rate college. When is it qualified to be the enemy of my Guangming Academy? Are you putting gold on your face too much? What are you yourself? Don't you have any points in your heart? I'm just curious, where on earth do you have the confidence to go to my Guangming Academy to ask for the treasure? What you should worry about now is whether our Guangming Academy will settle accounts with your black and white academy. Roll. If you don't get lost, just kill it. Shui Wanren made a domineering sound, and the surging demigod power swept out, directly knocking the vice president of Black and White Academy away for several meters. Although this Chen Tianwei had recently been promoted to the demigod realm, he was only in the quasi-demigod realm, and hadn't even stabilized in the quasi-demigod realm. But Shui Wanren was different. He was a weak demigod above quasi-demigod, and he was one level stronger than Chen Tianwei. In addition, he has been promoted to the demigod realm for so many years, so he should have his own majesty and trump card. In this regard, it seems very domineering. Good. Good. Very good. Today you Guangming Academy bullied others, Chen Tianwei, admit it? What will happen in the future, who can say for sure? 30 years in Hedong and 30 years in Hexi. Just wait and see. Chen Tianwei, the dean of the Black and White Academy, gritted his teeth tightly, and at this moment, he directly bit his back molars. Blood flowed out from the corner of his mouth, and surging combat power burst out all over his body. Immediately, quickly reversed. Now is not the time to rip your skin off. If there was a fight with Shui Wanren, he would be seriously injured if he didn't die. Seeing Chen Tianwei fleeing, a slight smile appeared on Shui Wanren's cold face, and then he focused his eyes on Fang Fan, and the smile faded from the corner of his mouth in an instant. You kid, can you save me from making enemies for Guangming Academy? Now all the universities and colleges basically have enmity with my Guangming Academy. What else do you want? Shui Wanren gritted his teeth and scolded angrily. Fang Fan shrugged with a calm face. Where did the domineering attitude of the deputy palace master just now? That's it? Is this a change of face? This doesn't seem to be in line with the character of the vice palace master. Just now, in front of that Chen Tianwei, the deputy palace master directly said that the Black and White Academy is a second-rate waste material academy. Now is the caliber changed? Tisk, are you afraid, Lord Vice Palace Master? Are you afraid? It's not good for the Vice Palace Master to be moody. Fang Fan sighed, and then complained from the side. Shui Wanren's breathing was stagnant. Good guy, this kid is really beautiful now. I said a few words to you, and you doubled and returned. Now that they are all swollen and come to teach the deputy palace master a lesson? It's worth it? That's it now, wouldn't concubine Xiang always keep her eyebrows low in front of him in the future? Shui Wanren snorted coldly, and just as he was about to punish Fang Fan a little, a commotion suddenly occurred around him. Gods? Gods are attacking. A lot of Protoss. Everyone run. Run. It's coming towards us. There are tens of thousands of gods. The yelling continued, and everyone looked away, only to see a group of Protoss rushing towards them in the distance. The Protoss, attacked. The situation is dangerous. These Protoss people with strange weapons rushed over directly speaking a special language. Those cultivators guarding the periphery were killed instantly. Guangming Academy, so the students gather. Get ready for a full battle. Continue to resist. Shui Wanren snorted coldly. At the critical moment, he still had to break down his mind and not be careless in the slightest. He didn't dare to slack off in the battle against the Protoss. After all, there is really too little understanding of these Protoss people. But they appeared in the territory of God's land again, which made everyone doubt their special identities. Attack here. Tens of thousands of gods. It's actually, all of them are the existence of the sanctuary. His Samsung sanctuary base. Is this, the power of the Protoss? 1-star and 2-star sanctuary realms are basically rare. Gish's eyes explored around the front, and then he said with a serious face. On the way to the True God Cave Mansion, I actually encountered some Protoss. At that time, I only encountered a dozen or so. Among the dozen or so Protoss, there were 2 saints, and the rest were above the 5-star sanctuary. Exist. Relatively speaking, those Protoss people appear to be stronger. But this time the number is really too much. Tens of thousands of Protoss gathered together and overwhelmed them overwhelmingly. There are almost 100 saints. There are also 3 divine cultivators in the demigod realm. Call. I don't know how many of these Protoss people are. If the number is really too large, wouldn't we be harassed by them every day when we build the city of God here? Taishaji sighed, his gaze seemed a little erratic. I don't know whether it is a good thing or a bad thing to enter the territory of this sacred land. Taishaji sighed again, and looked a little unsteady from his standpoint. There are some things that ooze ambiguity. Once you can't figure it out, it's a big problem. The situation is harsh and extremely complicated. Whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, we can only resist these Protoss cultivators for now. All the instructors of Guangming Academy entered the periphery to protect the students. All students take out their weapons and are ready to fight back at any time. The high-grade students are on the outside, and the low-grade students are on the inside. Shui Wanren ordered again. Tisk. The Deputy Palace Master's arrangement is really appropriate. Why? Then I'll go to the inner circle, you guys play slowly. I feel pain in my bones right now. I messed up so much in the Thunder group before, and it almost broke my old bones. Bai Biao stretched her waist, ready to go paddling. Deputy Palace Master, are you sure you want us to go to the periphery? Fang Fan shrugged, then said calmly. Among the top 10 legions under his command, the Blood Shura Legion is already an 8-star peak Sanctuary Realm Legion, and the other 7 major legions have also been promoted to 7-star peak Sanctuary Realm. In addition, as Fang Fan's cultivation was raised to the initial stage of the 4-star Sanctuary, the cultivation bases of the 6 heroes under his command were also raised to the initial stage of the 7-star Sanctuary. There is also the mid-level Holy Realm Keel Whale, and the 4 god pets are all 7-star Sanctuary. With such a lineup, how can those senior students be comparable? Even those mentors in the Holy State may not be able to have such combat power. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3422. Forward. You are an exception. You group, gather together. Go guard the south. The defensive pressure over there is a little easier, but there are still sporadic Protoss rushing over. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, nodded, and then said calmly. Okay. Fang Fan nodded and prepared to execute the order without saying anything. As for the guy holding the ticket, he's used to stealing and cheating, and he's quietly preparing to leave now. It's true to live. Brother Bai Biao, there are dead eggs under the nest. If we are all cold, you can't live. Wouldn't it be a pity if your supreme combat power was wasted? Fang Fan shrugged, then smiled. Bai Biao rolled his eyes, and complained angrily, your boy is simply the nemesis of my god envoy. You kid just don't want to make me comfortable, don't you? Hey, How can I not know about your kids' tricks? What I saw is so real. It's nothing, that's it. The corners of Bai Biao's mouth twitched, and the gesture of gnashing his teeth flashed across the board. But in the end, he had no choice but to join Fang Fan's fighting camp. Bai Biao will always be an indispensable one in Fang Fan's battle camp. This invincible defense is so attractive. In a moment, you stay behind me, don't move around. These Protoss cultivators are not simple, don't be careless. Did you hear me? Chu Cixi gritted her teeth, then looked at Fang Fan seriously and said. Fang Fan was stunned. That's it? What the hell? He really didn't understand. What do you mean? Fang Fan asked directly. I want to protect you. Chu Cixi thought, of course. Then she smiled charmingly, and then stretched out her delicate fingers to pick at Fang Fan's chin. How? My junior Fang Fan doesn't need my senior sister's protection. Chu Cixi licked her rosy lips, feeling very provocative. Fang Fan. Good guy, this woman is really beautiful after being promoted to the Holy Venerable. Can this be done without rectification? Let her know what toughness is. Go defend. Fang Fan led the way, and then came to the south of the team. For those Protoss practitioners, the attack was launched from the north, so the defensive pressure on the south was the least. At present, there are 300,000 to 400,000 practitioners trapped here. Most of them are students from various universities and colleges. In fact, if everyone can work together, it will be no problem to resist the attack of these tens of thousands of God's cultivators. But obviously, talking about working together at this time is a complete joke. It's a good situation if there is no direct fight. At this moment, there is no need to think too much. The cultivators of the universities and colleges have long been in chaos, scrambling to get away quickly. Needless to say the rest, this time the status is very clear. Get out! Get out! Don't stand in front of labor and capital. I'm the tutor of Moon Demon Academy. How dare you stop me? Grass. What kind of thing is the Moon Devil Academy? I'm still from the Nether Academy. Can you get out of the way? You're so humming desperate to die, don't drag me, can you? I don't want to die with you. Get out. Get out. Garbage. I'm annoyed when I see you. Grass. Kill if you don't move. Stab you to death. You kill my junior brother, just wait to die. People from Moon Devil Academy provoked our Nether Academy. Kill them. The uproar continued. As soon as those Protoss cultivators attacked, this group of people fell into chaos. Most of the people were not killed by Protoss practitioners, but by their own people. Just this scene, instantly crushed, very speechless. Invisibly, the breath of sand sculpture is very real. The blood gathered into a river. There was a strong smell of blood in the air. Those colleges and universities that did not gather together to guard immediately after the attack of the Protoss practitioners actually suffered a heavy blow. They intended to take advantage of this opportunity to escape quickly. As everyone knows, there are too many people gathered in such a small place, and it is easy to cause problems if they scramble to leave in a short period of time. Every now and then, a wave of chaos would erupt. Forward. Why doesn't the Deputy Palace Master let us escape too? Look, all of these people have fled. Aren't we staying here to die? If everyone fights together, maybe they can still hold on. Now that they are all scattered, wouldn't they be defeated one by one? Looking at the fleeing crowd, Bai Piao seemed a little moved. Hold on, is it really necessary? Fleeing at this time, the losses suffered will only be greater. They all wanted to escape in the chaos, but they couldn't escape in the end. Look at the practitioners from those colleges and universities, even if they rushed out, the damage is nearly half. Fang Fan raised his head and glanced into the distance, then said calmly. The attack of the Protoss has officially arrived. Now the whole audience can gather together to form a combat force, and there are only three forces, the Bright Academy, the Dark Academy, and the Black and White Academy. The remaining small colleges were basically washed out. As for Nether Academy, Daybreak Academy, and Yuanji Academy, their leaders gave orders to retreat from the very beginning. What followed was a massacre. After suffering a heavy loss, he forced a bloody path and rushed out. Deputy Palace Master, at least 50% of the students in our Yuanji Academy were killed or injured. In the distance, a middle-aged mentor of Yuanji Academy looked at Su Qin, the deputy head of Yuanji Academy, and said with great sorrow, "Deputy Palace Master, wasn't our order to fully retreat back then too reckless? Look at the Bright Academy and the Dark Academy, they haven't retreated, and the damage is less than 5% now." Deputy Palace Master. The middle-aged tutor of Yuanji Academy couldn't help asking a series of questions under anxiety. Taken together, these questions are very real. But what does it mean to put it on the table at this time? Are you questioning the Deputy Palace Master? Go against the tune of the lead singer of the Vice Mansion? Or are you attacking the Deputy Palace Master? Su Qin, the deputy head of the Yuanji Academy, looked a little ugly. What do you know? This temporary damage is necessary. It's not that you haven't seen the ferocity of those Protoss practitioners. If we really get entangled with them, it will not be as simple as 50% damage. That will wipe out the entire army. There are 3 demigods among the divine cultivators. It's not like you haven't realized the combat power of a god cultivator, one can fight 3. 3 Protoss and demigods can beat 9 of us. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3423. Su Qin, the deputy head of Yuanji Academy, will naturally not admit his mistake. He wants to make his image as high as possible. What I want is a face. But among the 3 Protoss demigods, 2 are quasi-demigods, and only 1 is a weak demigod. If we stick to the same place as the Black and White Academy of the Dark Academy, the Bright Academy, they may not be able to break through our defense circle. The tutor from Yuanji Academy was obviously still a little bit aggrieved, so he continued to talk. It seems that they want to seek justice. These words and deeds directly made Su Qin furious. Grass. Are you upset if you don't ruin the reputation of labor and management? Continuously, isn't that what it means? Next, what the hell are you going to do? Continually, all these bells and whistles. So what? What do you want to say? The decision made by the Deputy Palace Master is absolutely wrong. If you stay in place, you will definitely die. Just watch. What Dark School, Bright School, all have to be wiped out. Do you really think that these Protoss cultivators are easy to provoke? This group of Protoss cultivators are a group of lunatics. Su Qin, deputy head of the Yuanji Academy, gritted his teeth, his eyes revealing a murderous intent. This is basically persecution. No matter how hard-headed the tutor at Yuanji Academy was, he could hear something was wrong at this moment. At this moment, he shrank his neck subconsciously and stopped speaking. Go on, something could happen. In front of the True God Cave, the bloody battle is on. Tens of thousands of Protoss practitioners were divided into 3 arrays, and successively launched attacks on the groups belonging to the Dark Academy, the Bright Academy, and the Black and White Academy. The momentum of the attack is very fierce. Not good. That weak demigod-level Protoss cultivator is coming towards our Guangming Academy. Damn. This ghost thing is not easy to provoke. The combat power of this Protoss demigod is extraordinary. Taishaji took a deep breath, with a solemn look on his face. The current situation must be carefully prepared, and there may be deviations if you are not careful, and you will really be unable to control any accidents at that time. I'm here to block this weak demigod of the Protoss. The rest, resist the impact of the God Race army. Fight to the death. Fight to the end. The brows of Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, have completely frowned. He is also a weak demigod, and he is still a senior weak demigod, but he is very clear that he is not the opponent of the weak demigod in front of him. Although the cultivation bases are the same, the combat power between them is far from each other. Some things cannot simply be measured by combat power. Deputy Palace Master, you. There was a flash of hostility in the eyes of Taishaji, and he made a gesture to sprint forward, so as to block this weak demigod of the Protoss. Brother Tai, don't compete with me. Although you are invincible at the same level, you have never been promoted to a demigod after all. I'll take care of this guy. Shui Wanren smiled, and immediately charged forward with a sharp blade in his hand. Shui Wanren didn't talk nonsense, and directly fought the weak demigod of the Protoss in the air to the end. Although there are certain disadvantages, they can be fully controlled in a short period of time. Almost 3,000 or 4,000 elite Protoss gathered in the surrounding area, and they came to kill them one after another. Although the mentors of the Guangming Academy guarding the periphery are powerful, they are obviously still a little bit too much. The difference in combat power is not the same. These Protoss cultivators are indeed very powerful in single combat. Almost every Protoss cultivator can achieve leapfrog anti-killing. The middle-level saints of Guangming Academy can barely compete with the low-level saints of the Protoss. And the sustainable combat power is not as good as the low-level saints of the Protoss. The cultivators of Guangming Academy use their spiritual power when fighting. Once they output too much spiritual power, their combat power will easily decline. But these Protoss cultivators rely entirely on their own physical strength. After the surging combat power broke out, the rest of the things naturally didn't matter. Dig Cassie. Squeak and tear. Card holder wow. Squeak. The Protoss cultivator speaks fluent Protoss language and is talking nonsense. Probably giving orders. The camp group of Guangming Academy, the defense line in the north is under the greatest pressure. Besides, Shui Wanren couldn't last too long. The defensive line looked like it was about to collapse at any moment. Brother Fang Fan, this situation is not good. The deputy palace master is a little bit stretched under the attack of that Protoss demigod, and he doesn't have much power to fight back. The thousands of Protoss cultivators are also invincible. Now we are only defending the southern defense line, because there are few Protoss cultivators rushing over, so there is no danger. There are problems with the defense lines in all other directions. Brother Fang Fan. Call. Gui Sha frowned, and then his sharp eyes couldn't help but glance around. Slowly, complexion appeared. The overall situation looks a little dangerous. Boy Fang Fan, I've said it long ago, we can't handle it. Look, let alone our master now, even your old father-in-law, who is the deputy head of the palace, can't hold it anymore. There is only one demigod in our camp. Why? If your old father-in-law gets cold, we all have to follow suit. Fang Fan boy, or else we'd better think of a way to retreat in advance. Well, don't be a fool. This shit, it's really unsteady. Bai Biao chattered crookedly, talking a lot of nonsense. Fang Fan directly blocked the audio-visual, and now he needs to think quietly at this time. The current situation is uncertain, there is no doubt about it. The Guangming Academy is at an absolute disadvantage. Even if I dispatch the top 10 legions under my command and all the heroes and gods, I can only suppress those ordinary Protoss cultivators. But there is still nothing to do with those divine cultivators who are in the holy state or even the demigod state. Right now, the deputy palace master is still carrying the attack of that Protoss demigod, so the overall situation can barely be maintained. But if something unexpected happens, it will really be over. When the Protoss demigod draws his hand, who will be his opponent? It would be best if he could weaken his combat strength right now, and then let the deputy palace master kill him. Fang Fan rolled his eyes, his expression was a little complicated. Na Yan. Activate the magical skill battle control. Fang Fan licked his lips, not daring to slack off in the slightest. Immediately, Na Yan was dispatched directly. Na Yan was conferred the 7th class god position Tianji star disciple by him before. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3424. Each deity has its own unique effect. For example, Bai Piao's god of thunder can be immune to the power of thunder and lightning. And Na Yan's supernatural skill of the heavenly mystery and star disciples is battle control. Battle control activate the power of heaven, double the combat power of the designated target, and reduce the combat power of another designated target by half. The duration lasts 10 minutes, and the cooldown period is 3 days. Increase the combat power of the target designated by one's own side by 1 time, and reduce the combat power of the target designated by the opponent by half. Repeatedly, this is a 4-fold gap. In this way, the combat power gap between Shui Wanren and that Protoss demigod can be completely reversed. Obey my lord. After Na Yan got the order, he directly charged forward with the divine weapon Sinan in his hand, and the fighting power of the whole body gathered directly. Control the battle. Whoosh. 2 invisible forces simultaneously entered the bodies of Shui Wanren and the Protoss demigod. Shui Wanren, who was struggling to support, suddenly doubled his combat power, and suddenly became much more relaxed. What's the situation? Why did my combat power soar? Could it be that I was promoted during the battle? Could it be that I have been promoted to the strong demigod realm? Shui Wanren's mind seemed to be in a mess, and then he began to make a few wild guesses. The more I think about it, the more excited I become, and the more I think about it, the more surging I get. It was that kind of feeling, slowly going deep into it, unable to extricate itself. The whole person is completely boiling. But soon, he returned to normal. This is a normal person. My cultivation base has not been promoted. This sudden power must have been tampered with. Forget it, it's not a bad thing anyway. Shui Wanren shook his head, didn't think much, and immediately attacked the demigod of the Protoss. Clang. The weapons collided together, making a sharp collision sound. Immediately, the body of the Protoss and demigod retreated rapidly. Obviously, this Protoss demigod is no longer Shui Wanren's opponent. How did he become such a trash? My combat power has increased, but he has reduced his combat power. Before this Protoss demigod was twice as powerful as me, now I am almost twice as powerful as him. I took off. Shui Wanren exhaled a foul breath, and his face looked very complicated at the moment. Holding a sword in his hand, he began to fight with wide open arms. The weak demigod of the Protoss who was hanging and beating the ground screamed. Scala. Damn KS. Probably just a few insults. A mere Protoss. How dare you harm my Guangming Academy? It's courting death. The deputy palace master didn't look for you, but you came here to die yourself. Weak demigod of the Protoss. What a waste. Shui Wanren is gone. He felt he could do it again. He had already forgotten how he was shivering when he was beaten. At this moment, the gazes of practitioners from other surrounding forces also swept over, with expressions of surprise on their faces. Is this still the Shui Wanren they know? At this moment, Wang Gu, the deputy head of the Dark Academy, was reluctantly fighting a quasi-demigod level Protoss cultivator. When he saw Shui Wanren beating the weak demigod level Protoss cultivator and flying around, his face turned dark. I am also a weak demigod like him, so the gap is so big. Bright Academy is really branching out now. It's not just the combat power of those students that is surging, but now even Shui Wanren's combat power is so explosive. Shui Wanren's combat strength is even close to that of a strong demigod. When things go wrong, there must be a demon. There must be something tricky in it. Bright Academy. The doorway here seems really big. Wanggu, deputy head of the Dark Academy, licked his lips, thinking to himself, the eyes were full of brilliance. He subconsciously felt that the reason why Shui Wanren hid his combat power before was to deal a fatal blow to their Dark School and even the entire Dark Camp at a critical moment. This has to be guarded against. Black and White Academy. Chen Tianwei, the dean of the Black and White Academy, was chasing around at this moment. He was fighting against a Protoss cultivator in the quasi-demigod realm, and he was also in the quasi-demigod realm. But at the moment it is not an opponent at all. Among the same level, the Protoss cultivators can indeed beat everything to a certain extent. Grass. Dangerous dangers. Almost killed. It seems that I have to find a way to escape. If this goes on like this, sooner or later something will happen. Chen Tianwei gritted his teeth, and then saw Shui Wanren, who was beating the weak demigod-level Protoss cultivator, with a complicated expression on his face. At the same time, there was a trace of joy in my heart. Fortunately, he was stable before and didn't directly tear his face off with Guangming Academy, otherwise he might have been hammered to death long ago. At this time, at least he can save his life. Chen Tianwei's eyes were testing the surroundings, he needed to find a way to escape as soon as possible. Su Qin, the deputy head of the Yuanqi Academy who was watching the battle from a distance, seemed very upset. Why are these Protoss cultivators so useless one by one? Why don't you kill all these people quickly? Only when all these people are killed and their vitality is seriously injured, can it show how wise his decision to evacuate in advance is. It's just a pity that things backfired. The battlefield where Guangming Academy is located. The more Shui Wanren fought, the more smoothly he fought, and the stronger he fought. It doesn't feel so good to directly press down on this Protoss demigod. Fang Fan stood below with a solemn expression. 5 or 6 minutes had passed, and Shui Wanren still hadn't killed that Protoss demigod. Battle control. The effect of the magical skill can only last for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, Shui Wanren's combat power will be knocked back to its original form, and everything will have to start from scratch. Deputy Palace Master, can you kill this Protoss demigod within 5 minutes? Your combat power will be recovered in 5 minutes. Fang Fan looked helplessly at the triumphant Shui Wanren in the air and said. Shui Wanren, who was playing cheerfully, trembled, his eyes rolled subconsciously. What are you talking about? He didn't quite understand. What do you mean? My combat power, did you improve it for me? Can you increase my combat power? Double my combat power? What kind of monster are you? Shui Wanren took a deep breath, and his complexion immediately changed. While talking at the moment, the expression changes are very real. There is always a gap between all of this and what you imagined. It's just amazing. Fang Fan shrugged helplessly and said, stop talking nonsense, just tell me if you can kill this Protoss demigod within 5 minutes, no, within 4 minutes. Otherwise it will be cold in 4 minutes. Fang Fan sighed, the facts were in front of him, what could he do? Shui Wanren swallowed a mouthful of saliva. He really wanted to agree, but after much deliberation, he really couldn't do it. The defense of this Protoss demigod is too strong. Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3425. At least half an hour. Shui Wanren replied. Fang Fan pondered silently. Half an hour is too long. Once the effect of the battle control magical skill ends, it will be too late. There is naturally pressure at the moment. Fang Fan clenched his fists silently, his eyes shot out, his expression gradually became complicated. I can only find another way out. Fang Fan silently took out the pair of calamity hammers. This is the artifact he just got. If the pair of calamity hammers collide with each other, they can release the magic skill natural disasters and man-made disasters that comes with the calamity hammers. Fang Fan looked at the relevant introduction. Natural disasters and man-made disasters collide a pair of calamity hammers with each other, and launch an attack on a designated creature or group of creatures, causing this creature or group of creatures to continue to be unlucky for 1 hour, no cooldown time. Note, one collision of the hammer of calamity can exert the power of natural disasters and man-made disasters to 50%, two collisions can exert the power of natural disasters and man-made disasters to 100%, and three collisions can exert the power of natural disasters and man-made disasters up to 200%, and so on. Theoretically, the more collisions, the stronger the power, but it also depends on the opponent's level of cultivation. In general, natural disasters and man-made disasters is to make the opponent unlucky. This guy by Biao has experienced it before. He staggered after walking 2 steps, his teeth were stuffed after drinking cold water. Probably in that state. If the power of natural and man-made disasters can be suppressed on that Protoss demigod. Fang Fan exhaled a turbid breath, thinking to himself, the gleam in his eyes grew more and more. It really is worth a try. If it succeeds, the benefits are self-evident. Focus on the Protoss and demigods. Tap. Fang Fan snorted secretly, and then silently bumped a pair of calamity hammers together. Immediately, a mysterious energy was released from the hammer of calamity, and then it swept over that Protoss demigod. Puff. Fang Fan's face turned red suddenly, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Grass. Backlashed. This Protoss demigod's cultivation base is too high. If I release the natural disasters and man-made disasters magic skill on him, I will even get hurt. Call. My body, all the spiritual power in my body has been drained. It seems that in the future, it is still not possible to use it on practitioners who are too high. Fang Fan gritted his teeth, blood gurgling from the corner of his mouth. Fang Fan. Why are you bleeding? I told you to follow me, but you didn't listen. Why don't you know how to take care of your body? Why are you like this? When Chu Sisi saw Fang Fan's state, his face suddenly showed distress, and then he couldn't help complaining. Shut up. Fang Fan glared at Chu Sisi and scolded directly. Women, so noisy. Fang Fan gritted his teeth and looked at the battle in the air. Natural disasters and man-made disasters, it seems that there is still a certain effect. At least at this moment, the Protoss demigod made several mistakes, and then Shui Wanren seized some opportunities and left him with some injuries. But the degree of natural disasters and man-made disasters is not enough, far from enough. Fang Fan's eyes once again focused on the pair of disaster hammers in his hands. If it is collided for the second time at this moment, the effect of natural and man-made disasters will be fully exerted. At this moment, the sense of danger surged instantly. Fang Fan licked his lips, his eyes gradually became sharper. There is not much time left for him. In another 3 or 2 minutes, when the effect of battle control ends, Shui Wanren's combat strength recovers, and everything is over. Hammer. Fang Fan snorted secretly, then firmly held the disaster hammer in his hand, and then focused all the spiritual power on his body, on his arms, trying his best to make the 2 disaster hammers collide. Click. Click. Because of the excessive force, Fang Fan's skin and bones were breaking apart. The gurgling blood slowly flowed out. This time the scene seemed a little frightened. But at this moment, Fang Fan couldn't care less. All of their spiritual power is focused here. It is obviously not that easy to hammer a second time to a Protoss cultivator in the demigod realm. The two disaster hammers are repelling each other at this moment. When the repelling force was greater than the strength of Fang Fan's arms slowly twisted. The originally straight arm was fully bent at this moment. Broken bones are normal. The broken bone stubble was exposed in the air along with the flesh and blood, looking a little scary. Fang Fan, what are you doing? Don't scare me. Chu Cixi was gnashing her teeth at first because of Fang Fan's reprimand, but now she obviously couldn't care so much. She concentrated all her fighting power here, and her eyes gradually became firm. Fang Fan groaned silently, but swallowed frantically, and then put his arms together again. The hammer of calamity is approaching in an all-round way. Gods of disasters and gods. Share power. Fang Fan muttered to himself, and directly drew the combat power of two 8-star peak sanctuary realm bloodshuras, and along the way swept the power of several heroes with the status of servants of the wild gods. The hammers of calamity are approaching each other. Boom. A crisp sound sounded, and everything has become an established pattern. Steady. All stabilized. A mysterious energy spilled out from the hammer of calamity god, and then descended on the Protoss demigod. Puff. Fang Fan spat out a mouthful of blood again, then rolled his eyes, and fell limply on the ground. Pain, endless pain gathered, and Fang Fan's expression became extremely ugly. Fang Fan. What's wrong with you? Don't scare me. If you die, I will follow you. Fang Fan. Can you respond to me? Wake up, wake up. You can't die. Fang Fan could hear Chu Cixi's shouts sporadically. Trembling, Fang Fan took out a healing card from the storage ring and stuck it on his body. Don't shake it. If you shake it any longer, you'll be dead. Fang Fan curled his lips, speechless. Speechless, nothing. Fang Fan rubbed his slightly swollen and painful head, and then let out a breath of foul air. You know how to scare me. What happened to you just now? Suddenly, all of a sudden. Woo woo woo. Can you stop taking such risks? The hammer just now was not a good thing, so bear with it. Chu Cixi's pear blossoms were raining, and she hugged Fang Fan tightly at this moment. After crying for a while, she couldn't help but opened her red lips and kissed Fang Fan's mouth. Fang Fan. Is it all this rough now? Need some foreplay? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3426. Fang Fan has always been passive. Fang Fan didn't know how many times he was raped by the woman in front of him. Bai Piao is hiding in the crowd. The sorrow of the 5 scumbags is nothing more than this. Anyway, he couldn't beat one, but others couldn't kill him either. Just run and escape. Of course, he didn't run away aimlessly. His first principle of running away was to follow the strong. He first mixed with the keel whale of the middle-level Saint Realm, but the keel whale height escaped and ran too fast, so Bai Piao was going to follow in the footsteps of Chu Cixi. After all, he was also a middle-level saint. Then he saw Chu Cixi kissing Fang Fan. Surrounding is the battlefield of mountains of corpses and seas of blood, right here, fully embraced. Outrageous. Absolute sun. How desperate is this effing thing? Can't wait this little time. Seeing a low-level divine cultivator killing him with a knife, Bai Piao gritted his teeth and ran to block the knife. I am CAO. Don't get bored. What time is it? Are you still hugging and holding high? Has all the dog food been sprinkled on the battlefield? Wipe. This, just hang on, okay. I don't even know what to say. There are enemies all around. Run, run away. Hurry up. Get out of the way, get out of the way. Bai Biao shouted at the top of his voice, he is too difficult. Everything has to be taken care of, and the fairy feels her head buzzing, speechless, sighing softly, speechless, and doesn't know what will happen next. Short night. Die. Chu Ceci licked her rosy lips, a satisfied smile appeared on the corner of her mouth, and then she held a long sword and directly beheaded the Protoss cultivator who was approaching the low-level Saint realm. A sword defeated. The second sword, kill directly. Chu Ceci, who inherited the inheritance of the god of disaster, cannot be underestimated. With a middle-level saint-level cultivation base, he can even fight against high-level saint-level existences. As for Fang Fan, his eyes have been focusing on the demigod battlefield above his head at this moment. Although the battlefield below is also important, the demigod battlefield is the key. If Shui Wanren loses against that Protoss demigod, everything will be in jeopardy when the Protoss demigod pulls out his hand. On the other hand, if Shui Wanren can defeat that Protoss demigod, the situation will be solved in an instant. This Protoss demigod has endured 2 blows from the god of calamity hammer, natural disasters and man-made disasters, so he naturally has some impressions at this moment. For example, when he swung his weapon forward, he actually threw it directly into the sky. Then the matter of picking up weapons fell into a mess. Incidents like this are slowly increasing. Although Shui Wanren was dazed, he didn't think much about it. At this moment, he focused all his energy on killing the demigods of the Protoss. But the Protoss demigod's combat power is too strong. After fighting for a long time, only some wounds were left on his body, but it is really difficult to kill him completely. This is still under the condition that the magical effect of battle control has not disappeared. After the battle control magical effect slowly disappears, the situation will become even more difficult. Slowly, the whole line is cool. It also plays with the hammer. Liang Yueguang is practicing to the end. Time is up. The effect of battle control has disappeared. It's so cold. Why? Pity. This battle is dangerous. It seems that we really need to consider the transfer. Otherwise, I don't know what will happen next. The situation is not very clear now. If something unexpected happens, it will all collapse. If there is really nothing to be done later, we will transfer everyone to the small world of Shushan Pavilion. Fang Fan rolled his eyes, he already had a plan in mind. Boom. Clang. The battle between Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, and the demigods of the Protoss is still going on. At this moment, the Protoss demigod Zhou was dripping with blood, and he didn't know how many wounds he had been stabbed. But under his blow, Shui Wanren's body collapsed. Vaska. Whoa. The Protoss demigod yelled a few times, then became excited, and then mobilized all the combat power around him to launch an attack, surging, and wrapped in surging killing power. Although Shui Wanren tried his best to resist, he was still a bit close. Late. Why? The time has really come. All the soaring power in my body before has disappeared. Next, it will be difficult. Call. I didn't kill this Protoss demigod just now when the combat power was soaring, but it stimulated his wildness. Now that my surging combat power has subsided, it will be even more difficult to reverse the situation. If I die, the students of Guangming Academy will collapse completely. If I choose to escape now, I still have a chance. Shui Wanren gritted his teeth, his eyes gradually became erratic, the corners of his mouth couldn't help twitching slightly at this moment, and his mentality seemed a little complicated. Feelings are slowly becoming real. Ideas are also taking off in an all-round way. Collapsed. After all, it is going to collapse. Hee. I thought that Shui Wanren's combat power had really improved. I didn't expect that he was still pulling his hips like this. The sudden increase in combat power should be due to the use of some kind of taboo method. Now the time limit is up, and I have been beaten back to my original shape. Tisk, now there is a good show to watch. The Protoss demigod that Shui Wanren is facing is the most powerful. It seems that he can't hold it anymore. If he doesn't escape now, he will definitely die. When he dies, the Protoss and demigods will naturally massacre the practitioners of Guangming Academy. By that time, there will definitely be no 1 out of 10 of these people in Guangming Academy. This is the final outcome they will face. Why? Looking at it now, it is really wise for the Deputy Palace Master to give the retreat order immediately. Although we suffered some minor losses during the retreat, what is this loss compared to the overall battle situation? Snort. All of this is as it should be. When did the Deputy Palace Master's decision go wrong? Su Qin, the deputy head of the Yuanqi Academy, suddenly felt that he was doing it again. While talking, he couldn't help but hold his head high, the arrogance on his face was beyond words. Mentality is also in full swing. It's absolutely amazing. Very cool. Very comfortable. Time to explode. Roll directly. It's just that his face is a bit vicious. Deputy Palace Master, in front of the Protoss cultivators, our schools and colleges are supposed to be allies. The allied forces are suffering, we hide here and laugh, isn't that good? Divine system of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3427. A middle-aged tutor at Yuanqi Academy saw that his deputy palace master was so gloating, he couldn't stand it any longer. There is something to do or not to do. It's okay not to rush to the rescue, because it's too dangerous. But what do you mean by sarcastic remarks here? If it wasn't for the practitioners of Guangming Academy to resist the attack of these Protoss practitioners, wouldn't it be their Yuanqi Academy who suffered? We are all grasshoppers on the same rope, why should we be so vicious? Wouldn't it be better to just, hang on? Snort. The excited face of Su Qin, the deputy head of the Yuanqi Academy, turned cold in an instant, and he felt somewhat uncomfortable at the moment. What the hell? Is this being complained about again? Damn it! So shameless. Damn bastard. If you find an opportunity, you have to fix you. Dark School. It seems that Shui Wanren can't hold it anymore. It seems that I was worrying too much. His combat power may have been temporarily improved, and he must have paid a huge price. Now that the time is up, the combat power will be gone. It's just that if he is killed, who will resist that weak demigod of the Protoss? Call. The weak demigod of the Protoss is no less powerful than our strong demigod. In this case, it is indeed difficult to fight. If this is the case, the situation becomes very critical. Wanggu, deputy head of the Dark Academy, rolled his eyes, and began to have many plans in his mind. He needs to leave a way out for himself. He didn't want to just die on the spot. It is still very necessary to hold on to it in an all-round way. If it is really impossible, he can only abandon the students of these dark schools and flee alone. It's real to be alive, and the rest is bells and whistles. Wanggu, deputy head of the Dark Academy, licked his lips. At this moment, a lot of thoughts had arisen in his mind. Being alive is the most important thing, the rest is bullshit. Wanggu, the deputy head of the Dark School, also has the same thoughts as the head of the Black and White School, Chen Tianwei. At this moment, he was struggling to support the attack of the quasi-demigod Protoss powerhouse in front of him, and he wanted to run away a long time ago. Seeing Shui Wanren's crushing defeat made him even more aware. Run away now, there is still a glimmer of life. Run. Must run. I can't hold on anymore. There is already a dead end ahead. Shui Wanren can't be relied on anymore. Who else can I rely on to save me? Whirring. Yes. That's right. This must be made clear. Chen Tianwei licked his lips, then exhaled foul breath. The more he thought about it, the more he looked like this. Immediately, thinking exploded directly. He glanced at the black and white college students on the ground, with a fierce look on his face. Now, I can't take care of that much anymore. It's not bad if you can save your own life. Chen Tianwei smeared oil on the soles of his feet, and the spiritual power all over his body exploded. The speed is getting faster and faster. The Dean has run away. Dean. Dean, why did you leave us behind? Dean. Several practitioners from the Black and White Academy with sharper attention lost their minds when they saw Chen Tianwei fleeing. After they howled, the anxious look on their faces was beyond words. It exploded. All exploded. The Dean has run away, what's the point of us staying here? Hee. Let's run. Let's run too. Trash. See through. The Dean doesn't care about us anymore, we are bound to die, and the demigods of the Protoss will kill us all. Ah! What a pity. Everyone, hold on tight. The battle line must not collapse. Absolutely must not let the Protoss practitioners take advantage of it. Hee. Are you still daydreaming? It's over. It's all over. The Dean has run away. What a fart. Run. I'm so upset, I can't play anything anymore. The Black and White Academy's battle line was the first to collapse, and finally suffered a crushing defeat. The scene collapsed to the extreme. The students behind the dark school watched their dean slip away, so they must have fled from all directions in silence. The mentality of those students who were at the forefront of the battle line was directly cracked. Grass. What are you doing? Damn. There are no continuous reinforcements behind, relying on them to support the front. What support? There is a dead end. Although there is a high probability that you will not survive if you run away now, but if you stick to it, you will definitely die. The area where the students of the Black and White Academy are located is now filled with blood and rain. Blood gathered into a sea of blood. Floating corpses. The strong smell of blood soared into the sky. It caused a strong throbbing feeling deep in my heart. Feel silently, and feel pain inexplicably. Those Protoss cultivators launched a full-scale attack from the rear, which is equivalent to exposing their backs. Ushered in, is greater casualties. The defeat of the Black and White Academy naturally had a strong linkage effect. At least at this moment, many people are restless, their hearts are floating, and they all want to escape. Some students of the Dark Academy and the Bright Academy are waiting for the opportunity. The current situation of Guangming Academy is more critical. Under the all-out attack by the weak demigods and the strong of the god race, Shui Wanren, the deputy head of the Guangming Academy, has been retreating steadily. The wounds all over his body began to gurgle and bleed. But at the moment it is still forcibly supporting. As for the weak and semi-divine strongman of the Protoss, he was able to directly kill Shui Wanren many times, but when the sharp blade in his hand was about to fall on Shui Wanren's head, he would suddenly stagger, fall in the air, or a sprinting corpse blocked his path. I don't know how many things like this happened. It's very confusing. Feelings of confusion, thoughts of confusion, everything makes one's scalp tingle. A wave of show is in place, and the mentality is completely broken. Nothing. Vasca. It's pulled. Time Cassie. The demigod powerhouse of the Protoss is angry, why can't the ants in front of him be killed again and again? This made him feel very irritable. Holding a huge black sword in his hand, he wanted to gather all his strength for a full blow. Husband. Help my daddy. Husband. My father is too dangerous. Husband. Concubine Xiang was already pear blossoms with rain, and now she was holding on to Fang Fan's sleeve. The worry on her face was beyond words. Fang Fan fell silent. At this moment, he really didn't know what to say. His mind is spinning rapidly. What cards do I have in my hand? Whole cards, whole cards. Puppet card. Demigod level puppet card. Demigod level puppet card. After using it, you can summon a quasi-demigod level puppet to fight for you. Fang Fan took a deep breath, then subconsciously licked his lips. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3428. Using this demigod level puppet card, you can directly summon a quasi-demigod level puppet to fight. Fang Fan is no stranger to this kind of puppet card. Although it's only quasi-demigod level, it's enough to relieve the urgent need. Call. Fang Fan snorted secretly, his eyes gradually became clear. Whoosh. A golden armored puppet suddenly appeared in the distance, its whole body was covered with gold, which looked very dazzling. Taking advantage of the inattention of the crowd, Fang Fan changed him into an outfit and wrapped him in a black robe. Go and help. Fang Fan snorted secretly and ordered directly. This quasi-demigod level golden armored puppet is also driven by the star core as energy. Feeling the star core in his hand disappearing rapidly, the corner of Fang Fan's mouth twitched subconsciously. About 30 seconds passed, and the star core in his hand was almost 5,000, and it was still a top-grade star core. Summoning this quasi-demigod level golden armored puppet would cost 10,000 high-grade star cores a minute. Fang Fan let out a foul breath, his eyes gradually became numb. This kind of puppet is indeed easy to use, but it is not affordable for ordinary people. The gold price puppet rampages with a simple knife. Launch an attack on the weak and demigod level Protoss powerhouse directly from behind. The two phases collided, and the sparks of battle suddenly appeared. Demigod. Another demigod. Another demigod appeared at Guangming Academy. Where did this demigod come from? Who is this newly joined demigod boss? I go. Bright Academy is saved. I didn't expect Guangming Academy to make a big move. It's taking off. The sudden appearance of a quasi-demigod puppet is a life-saving straw for many people. At this moment, they gathered all their spiritual power here, each smiling. For it. This demigod, how can I not perceive who it is? Why did he come to save me? What does he have to do with Guangming Academy? Could it be that there is some special conspiracy for coming to rescue me this time? No. No, I'm like this now, what kind of conspiracy can be against me? Could it be my precious son-in-law? Shui Wanren, deputy head of the Guangming Academy, gritted his teeth subconsciously, his eyes gradually raised, and his mind was also silently vacated. Those people present were serious, and it seemed that only his precious son-in-law was the most invisible to him. It was not impossible to directly double his combat power before, but now it is not impossible to fiddle with a demigod. The more I think about it, the more absurd I feel. A demigod is indeed a demigod. Unfortunately, he is a quasi-demigod. Why? It's too different from this Protoss demigod. Shui Wanren forcibly pulled himself together, and then joined forces with the demigod puppet to attack the quasi-demigod of the Protoss. But even if it is 2-1, it seems stretched. The injury on Shui Wanren's body became more and more serious, and the demigod puppet did not make any achievements for a while. Fang Fan's complexion became darker and darker, and his star core was disappearing rapidly. After fighting for so long without beheading his opponent, that Protoss demigod seemed particularly impatient. Kanakanakanu. Card slave. He frantically roared an unknown language, and then put the black épée in his hand on his forehead, and then frantically began to crowd his head with clouds of black mist. The combination of the black mist and the épée made the black épée even more radiant. Look at it, it's unique. Invisibly, deeply touched. Human sword unity. Great swordsmanship. He is trying to forcibly improve his combat power. If it is really possible to unite his sword and sword, the combat power will skyrocket. At that time, we will really be finished. This road has been completely blocked. It's over. If this goes on, it's really over. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, took a deep breath, and then said sharply. His eyesight is still there, and the anxious look on his face at this moment is beyond words. But what if you are anxious? With the road ahead blocked, everything will be completely annihilated. The end is also a new beginning. Card slave. Card slave. The weak demigods of the Protoss are crying like ghosts and howling like wolves again. Swish. The black giant sword on top of his head slowly trembled, and the surrounding spiritual power was instantly emptied. This scene is really exciting. Following a wave of feeling for a while, the mentality is fully uplifted. Whoosh. Zhejian understands. Suddenly fell down. Faster and faster. It was about to reach the head of the Protoss demigod. Only at this time did he react. How could this be? Protoss. Damn it. Protoss. How could I lose control of Excalibur? Protoss. Don't. Don't. Go away. Go away. Don't fall. Ah. There was a shrill roar, and the huge sword hanging above the head of the Protoss demigod pierced straight into his skull, and then split his body in two. On the ground, the dripping blood looked very glaring. But at this time, no one wanted to say anything, and fell silently into silence. Eternal silence. This Protoss demigod was split in two by his giant sword falling from the air, and he died cold. Just, very dramatic. The whole audience was stunned. At this moment, even the cultivators of the Protoss stopped attacking one after another, and stopped to watch this strange scene. I read that right, that weak demigod of the Protoss committed suicide. Did this guy take some wrong medicine? Why do I feel something is wrong? Any fool knows something is wrong, but the most important thing now is that he is really cold. The most fascinating event in history. Am I dazzled, or are we all stupid? We're all trapped in a dream, too deeply poisoned. So what we see are all fake things. Snapped. A loud slap sounded. Grass. Why are you hitting me? Didn't it wake you up? Do you still feel fake now? Really? It's more real than real. It's just so weird. Ghost knows what happened. I'm crazy, really crazy. Anyway, this must be a good thing for us. Look at those Protoss cultivators, all of them are listless now, and they must all be stimulated. Could it be that the true God came to the world and helped us kill this Protoss demigod? True God. You are thinking about farts. When did those so-called true gods take care of your life? Puzzled. Anyone who sees this picture will be stunned. Shui Wanren held a weapon in his hand, neither advancing nor retreating. Originally, he was ready for a desperate battle, and he fought well, and the enemy killed himself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Divine System of the Strongest Card Supplier in the End Times, Doomsday Strongest Card Supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3429. This. Play like this? It's like preparing for a full-scale battle, but in the end, I found that this fist hit the cotton directly. This. I'm so confused. My brain exploded imperceptibly. The feeling is particularly deep. In a few words, it is the most true idea. Everything is in full swing. Is it because my combat power is too strong? Then this demigod of the Protoss was scared? In the end, I cut myself off. Shui Wanren fumbled for the position of the lower jaw, and then talked nonsense. This. Can you talk a little more? What is the situation now, you don't know in your heart? Can we stop being so shameless? Don't you remember how you ran around when you were beaten on the ground just now? Now do you feel like you're doing it again? Grand Uncle G stepped forward, and immediately dissed. Just to let this guy know his position. Shut up. I want you to tell me. The corner of Shui Wanren's mouth twitched immediately after being exposed directly. Feeling a little ashamed right now. Oh shit. It felt like being slapped by a big mouth, that feeling was very abrupt. It's really not good to make it look like this. The key now is who is going to force this Protoss demigod to commit suicide. Anyway, I don't believe that naturally he would want to kill himself. Especially in battle, he has an absolute advantage. In this case, he needs to spend a little more time to wipe us all out. Victory is in sight, he ran to kill himself. It's obviously unreasonable. At the very least, there is absolutely no way this guy committed suicide on his own initiative. Call. Among them, there are many tricks. The problem is really big. If these issues are not investigated clearly, the Deputy Palace Master will have trouble sleeping and eating. Shui Wanren, deputy head of Guangming Academy, gritted his teeth, his expression gradually became solemn, and while talking, he couldn't help but shook his head, his facial expression changed very realistically. When Shui Wanren was searching for possible targets, he immediately focused his attention on Fang Fan. If there is any change in the situation, the first object of suspicion must be Fang Fan, there is no doubt about it. Good guy. Honestly, did you do it? You borrowed the power of the true god to force that Protoss demigod to commit suicide. Shui Wanren raised his eyebrows, and then began to speculate comprehensively. Borrow, the power of a true god. Deputy Palace Master, don't you think too highly of me? How could those aloof true gods think of me? This in itself is a false proposition. They want to kill me, how could they borrow the power of my true god? Besides, even if I wanted to, I couldn't find a way to contact them. Fang Fan rolled his eyes and shrugged while talking. This kind of thing should be rejected directly. Ah! You can accept even the true god as your own god slave, what else are you afraid to do? You dare to directly wipe out the Holy Thunder robbery who surpassed the demigod level. If you say that you have no connection with the true god, who would believe it? You kid has never been a good stubble. Shui Wanren's eyes lit up, and then he said seriously. Didn't a quasi-demigod level powerhouse in black appear just now? The way he looked just now is to help our Guangming Academy. Maybe it's his overall control. Fang Fan raised his eyebrows, then shrugged. There's really nothing wrong with this reason. As for the quasi-demigod level golden armored puppet wrapped in a black robe, it has already slipped away. It's all over? Fang Fan had considered this a long time ago, so he pulled him back. A quasi-demigod black-robed powerhouse. If you didn't say this, I almost really forgot. That black-robed strong man has long since disappeared without a trace. The moment this Protoss demigod disappeared. Tisk. There must be tricks in this. Could it be that this quasi-demigod black-robed powerhouse was also sent by your kid? You kid, tell me the truth, are you the illegitimate son of the God King? Now I'm living in the world, so I'm messing around. Shui Wanren, the deputy head of the Guangming Academy, was talking and then nodded silently, with a surge of emotion on his face. The more I think about it, the more I think it should be like this. It's very real. Shui Wanren is also making bold speculations at this moment, and then making careful conclusions. Fang Fan froze in place, not knowing what to say. I'm so. All the illegitimate children of the God King have come out. But I have to say that Shui Wanren's ability to predict is still very strong, as if he has predicted everything from the very beginning. He clearly guessed that the quasi-demigod powerhouse in black and the suicide incident of the god race demigod had something to do with him. Naturally, that weak demigod of the Protoss couldn't choose to kill himself. He's not that stupid yet. He placed the huge sword on top of his head before, in fact, he wanted to achieve the realm of the unity of human and sword, and then killed Shui Wanren and others. It's just that some accidents happened in the process of practicing these. Originally, it was only a very slight deviation. Under normal circumstances, nothing would happen. But because Fang Fan hit the hammer of the god of disaster twice in a row before, natural disasters and man-made disasters completely fell on the weak demigod of the Protoss. In fact, it had already caused some influence before. If not, it is unlikely that this guy missed so many opportunities to kill Shui Wanren. In the end, when he hung the giant sword above his head, it was actually equivalent to witnessing his real death. The oppressive feeling of death is particularly real. Cao. What the hell am I? It seems that something happened. This self-destruct Protoss demigod seems to be the boss of this group of Protoss cultivators, and has a very special status in the minds of these Protoss cultivators. Look at them. Now they are all attacking us. This is the rhythm of revenge against us. Wipe. These bastards are not going to fight against the students of the Dark Academy and the Black and White Academy, and are only attacking us. This, playing chicken. Boy Fang Fan. We're done. I'll hum it. Before this group of Protoss rushes over, let's run away. If it's any later, it might really be too late. Bai Piao jumped up and down in the crowd. When encountering danger, this guy is definitely the first to feel something. After the perception was in place, the idea took off directly. From all directions, tens of thousands of Protoss cultivators frantically engulfed them. Divine System of the strongest card supplier in the end times, Doomsday strongest card supplier. Author, Shu Yu. Chapter 3430. Although I can't understand their peculiar language, one thing is certain, that is, they are rushing here with endless hatred. From their eyes, the light of hatred can be clearly seen. Not good. It seems that this self-imposed Protoss demigod is really the leader of this group of Protoss cultivators. After the death of the leader, instead of retreating in fear, they came here determined to die. This is really unusual. Is it possible that this group of Protoss cultivators are really made of iron? Call. Even if it's made of iron, I'm afraid it won't be able to withstand such a full-scale attack. Forget it or not, save my life first, the rest doesn't matter. Run quickly, count as many as you can escape. I'll block you as much as possible. Shui Wanren, deputy head of the Guangming Academy, exhaled foul breath, and his complexion gradually became complicated. At this moment, he was determined to die. For the cultivators of the Black and White Academy and the Dark Academy, it is like picking up a big deal at this moment. Cao. I'm only a millimeter away from dying. I'm alive. Guangming Academy has attracted all the firepower. Damn it, I don't know why, but I feel a bit uncomfortable right now. Boy, am I sick. Ha ha ha. It's bad luck for Guangming Academy. Kill them. Kill all the practitioners of Guangming Academy. Anyway, we have a chance to escape. What the hell are you? What right do you have to shout here? I really don't know how much I weigh. Without Guangming Academy to help you drag these Protoss practitioners, you are going to die. Why don't you take advantage of this opportunity and run? Run? It's impossible to run away. It's impossible to run away in this life. He, I want to watch a movie. Anyway, this group of Protoss practitioners will not come to attack us, we are worried about a hammer. There were more and more shouts, and the surrounding atmosphere was still oppressed again and again. There are those who rejoice, and there are more people who gloat. Invisibly, it gives people a strong sense of sensory stimulation. Silently, his eyes flickered. Thinking is in full swing. Can't disperse and retreat. We must hold together. Scatter, you will surely die. Fang Fan looked at Shui Wanren, and then said bluntly. There is nothing that cannot be said, the facts are there. If there was a way, how could I have made this pointless decision? What's the situation now, can't you see clearly? It's clear what will happen next. Crash, all crumble. Now it's purely about being able to run out one by one. Even if only 10 people can be thrown out in the end, it can be regarded as leaving a bloodline for us Guangming. Fang Fan. Take Xiangfei, take Sisi, and rush out. From now on, treat them well. If you dare to treat them badly, even if I go to the 18th floor of hell, I will crawl out and die with you. Shui Wanren gritted his teeth, his eyes gradually turned blood-colored, and at this moment, he gradually developed a will to die. Father! Don't want. I can't live without you. If something happens to you, my daughter won't want to live anymore. Xiangfei's pear blossoms were raining, and she looked worried at the moment. Chu Sisi on the side also had a firm face. Uncle, I want to fight to the end with you. If you died to save us, how will I explain to my aunt in the future? Besides, my combat power is not bad. Isn't it just a bloody battle? It's as if no one can do the same. Chu Sisi shrugged, and then the sparkle in her eyes grew more and more. This gesture followed, and the hot spring was the most explosive gesture. What followed was a call for a fight. I would like to stay and fight to the end with the deputy palace master. Stay too. Must stay. The roars gradually increased, and the things on the scene appeared very real. There are still a group of bloody practitioners in Guangming Academy. Of course, everything has two sides. If there are such bloody practitioners, there will naturally be degenerate practitioners. There is no doubt about this. The sense of hierarchy is very strong. Invisibly, fully crushed and exploded. A bunch of idiots. You still want to stay and die? Ah! I don't want to be buried with you. This is clearly a dead end. The Protoss army originally carried by the three families has all rushed to the Guangming Academy, and now they continue to charge forward, and they are really trying to die. Ah! An act of death, no one is willing. Anyway, that's it. However, if this group of idiots are carrying it in front, my safety factor will be improved a lot. Tisk, if you rush out now, the chances are still great. Lu Fengage, a sky-level student of Guangming Academy, made it to the end. Relying on being cautious and greedy for life and fearing death, he really escaped the crisis of death time and time again. The more I think about it now, the happier I feel. This feeling is very appropriate. He gathered the little pony boys who were loyal to him, and then secretly retreated towards the rear. The thorough speed is getting faster and faster, and it seems that it is getting farther and farther away from the main force. He thought he was safe. Whoosh! Suddenly, hundreds of Protoss cultivators were staring at them, and then the team of hundreds of Protoss cultivators began to rush towards Lu Feng's team fiercely. In an instant, the cultivators who stayed in the back row to break the rear were all killed. Gudong! Lu Feng subconsciously swallowed a mouthful of saliva. At this moment, cold sweat gathered all over his forehead, and his mental state collapsed. This next, how do we do it? Danger, rush to the top. What the hell am I? If I had known that I would be hunted down when I came out, I would have laid down with the big army. Grass. There is no way to survive. Going out is death, attacking is also death. Anyway, it's a dead end from beginning to end. Asshole. The corner of Lu Feng's mouth twitched subconsciously, his complexion twisted abruptly, and he felt very unhappy in his heart. A large army of Guangming Academy. Fang Fan stood at the core, bringing everyone together. I have a way to keep everyone alive. But now the students are too scattered, I can't take care of. We must bring them together. Fang Fan raised his head suddenly, and then said with confidence. Without this self-confidence, it is impossible to say these words at this time. At the critical moment, the posture is surging. Just, very real.